In this video, we're going to take a look at the Pilot Custom 912. So let's jump straight to the end with my thoughts on this pen. I really enjoy using this pen. For me, it's really kind of a stub. I don't write music. I get to use it as a wet stub and really enjoy what it does for that. Now, with that, I kind of wish I had this pen probably in a medium nib. I got the music because at one point I was interested in trying music nibs, so I have a few different pens with them. I enjoy using them as stubs because, again, I don't write music and I don't see anything wrong with using it in that way. Now, as the writing sample goes on in this video, you're going to see spots where the pen is hard starting, and that's more of a me issue, and I don't know why, but with this particular pen, I do run into spots where I have hard starts, and it's me because I've looked at the nib. I don't see anything wrong with the nib. So while it normally doesn't do it, sometimes with me, it does. It still gives a very nice writing experience, as you would expect with the stub. It's got no sharp edges, so it puts down a very nice flourish onto the writing. I really enjoy Pilot pens, and I can't deny that. So the fact that I like using this pen and find it pleasurable is because I like Pilot, probably. Now that we know how I feel about the Pilot Custom 912, let's see how I got to that opinion, starting with the unboxing. The Pilot Custom 912 came in a box like this, which contained a box like this. The box is very utilitarian in what comes, but I didn't get it for the box, and I don't see this as the type of pen that you really worry about as a display. So it does a great job in keeping the pen safe, and it stacks nicely. So for someone like me that keeps the boxes for storage, the fact that it's an easy storage is good, and it's not oversized at all. With the pen out of the box, we need to get to the nib. And as long as it doesn't take 20 turns to uncap, I'm generally okay. So how many turns does it take to uncap? The Pilot Custom 912 takes 1.5 turns to uncap. 1.25 turns isn't excessive, it's not any kind of a big deal, and I don't find it to really be any sort of an issue. Now, with that, I do find my favorite spot is at 1 turn to uncap a pen. But I'll deal with the fact that I have the extra half in the very interesting writing that this pen tends to put down. This gets us to the nib. This pen has a gold music nib. The most noticeable thing while you're looking at this is that this nib does have 3 tines, with it being a music nib. It's got some very interesting scroll work, and I find that it's got just enough of ornamentation on it that makes it look a little bit nicer than had it been very plain looking. If you enjoy videos like this, then be sure to hit the subscribe button. Now, let's ink this pen up. The Pilot Custom 912 is a proprietary cartridge or converter pen. This Con 70 holds approximately 1.3 milliliters of ink. The ink for today is Diamine's Cherry Sunburst. While Pilot pens take proprietary converters, this one has the Con 70, which has the advantage that it holds more ink than their other converters, but is a real pain to clean out. I find that it doesn't always clean without me having to take the converter out of the pen. So it's not my favorite converter, but it is the converter that came with this pen. As a habit, I don't normally post my pens, but some people like to post pens, and some pens need to be posted to use comfortably. This pen does post very securely, nice and deep, no real problems. Well, as it's posted, I do feel it a little heavier back here, but that's because the pen itself tends to be very light. Unposted, it's long enough and thick enough to be able to hold comfortably and write without any kind of a problem. So I use it unposted, though you can post it without any kind of a problem and don't wind up with a wand in your hand. Now, the important part, the writing sample. I think what I notice while writing with this pen is that I have a tendency to turn this pen, and I don't know why. I think a majority of the writing I do, I keep the nibs pretty straight, but for some reason when I write with this particular pen, I do tend to turn it sometimes, which is what causes that little bit of a hard starting problem from time to time. It's because I don't have the nib getting a good purchase on the page. Now, with that said, it's good in the hand. The section isn't so small that it makes my fingers want to slip down. Again, I tend to hold back a little bit. My fingers are often right at or on the threads. They're not sharp or uncomfortable in any way. They're barely noticeable, really. It's more like having a little bit of texture under my fingers, and that's it. Now, holding it, it is a great length. It's long enough I don't need to post it, and I don't generally like posting those pens. So I want to keep the finish very nice. I'll hold on to the cap in my hand, and I will get the beautiful line variation that this nib puts down. I do feel more feedback in this one than I do in, say, the Sailor one, which is a two-tine music nib and an entirely different creature altogether. I can't say that this would be my favorite of music nibs. I would really say if you're looking to try a music nib and want a real winner out of the box, I would go with the Platinum 3776 music. I think they've got the best one out there. I'm very happy to have this in the rotation of pens that I use. I enjoy using it every time, and it does give me a little bit of a smile while I'm writing with it. Now for something a bit more standard in comparing writing size. I use Mnemosyne Blue to do this, and here's how it compares to a Yovo Extra Fine on the left, medium in the middle, and a 1.1 stub on the right. Naturally, being a music nib, it puts down a very wide line and much wider than you're going to get with really any kind of conventional nib. But one of the beauties of fountain pens is the fact that you can get entirely different writing experiences with different nibs. It's worth experimenting and trying some interesting ones out. But how does it compare in looking at the writing of a Pilot Custom 912 with a music nib? Here it is next to a 1911 large with a zoom nib, a Platinum 3776 with a music nib, a Platinum 456 with a Goulet 1.5 stub, a Lamy Safari with a 1.5 stub, and a Pelican M205 with a double broad nib. So it isn't a review without some size comparisons. Here it is capped. Here it is uncapped. And here it is posted. I would call this a fairly average, maybe slightly larger than average sized fountain pen. Its girth is just a little bit thicker than on a bunch of other pens that I use. Its length is just a little bit longer than some, but in the end, I would still just throw it into that realm of average, which is good that you can have an idea that you know you're going to enjoy it in your hand. At this point, we need to clean out the pen just because it's dirty. Be sure to check out the next pen review when we take a look at the Noodler's Mnemosyne.
Do your coworkers ask to use your pen when they know you're a fountain pen user? Do you need a way to say, screw you, buddy, but look like their friend? Have I got the problem? A ballpoint pen. Not just a ballpoint pen, it's a crappy one. It won't work, but hey, you gave them a pen. For the low price of... Look, well, actually, I'll give this away. You can have it. Just act now and get yours today.
If you want to be able to support not just my channel, but any reviewer, then when you make a purchase, be sure to tell that retailer where you heard about it. Thanks for watching.